Hi everyone, and welcome to this YouTube channel. My name is Penny, and this is Penny's Coding Bits. This channel is dedicated to bring you weekly bite-sized videos with practical solutions to your everyday data analytical challenges. And this video is going to walk you through how to create a simple Android app in Android Studio. And I never thought I would be getting into mobile app development until I got pulled onto a project during the holidays to develop an app to calculate how much chemical to input into the water treatment equipment for a water treatment company. So I thought, why don't I use the same algorithm to convert a lot of the tools I have developed on my blog last year into a mobile format? And here we are. So this tool was developed initially in September of last year. And back then, it was developed in Python, VBA, and Ultrix. And here I have converted it into a Android app. So the idea was that you would only input your hourly rate and hours worked and hit calculate, and it should give you your expected net pay for your payroll period. And I also added the reset button so that everything is wiped and you can start clean. So let's have a look at the back end code for this. So for any Android app, there are three main files. The first one is the Android manifest XML file. The second one is the main activity Java/Kotlin file. And the third one is the activity main XML file. The Android manifest file contains the main parameters that sets up this app. And the main activity file contains the detailed algorithms that makes the app run. So in our case, it contains all the formulas to calculate the net pay in the app. And the activity main file contains the front end design. So in our case, we have the three input fields, the name, hourly rate, and hours worked, as well as the two buttons, calculate and reset. So let's have a look at the Android manifest file in more detail. So on the first line, we're saying XML version is equal to 1.0. So this is telling the environment that we're having a XML file here. And the encoding is equal to UTF-8. So UTF is equal to Unicode Transformation Format. And 8 stands for 8 bits. So UTF-8 allows virtually all the characters in all the writing systems in the world plus special characters so that you can input virtually anything you want into the app. And the manifest line allows Android components to be included. And the package, you'll see that this is right above main activity. So we know what we're dealing with here because this is specifically referencing this file structure and this folder. And in the application section, this is setting the main parameters that has to do with the app. So that includes the app name and the theme. We're using a basic theme for an app. And most importantly, we need to make sure that this app is on the launcher. Otherwise, we cannot run it. So let's move on to the main activity. So let's start from the top, and you'll see that the package is referenced on the first line, and we need to reference the components that we expect to use in the app so that when we pull them into the app later on in this code, the environment knows what we're talking about. And in this main activity class, we need to define the variables for when we pull in the name, the hourly rate, hours worked, and results, which is the output. And you'll see that the first three are all edit text, and the last one is text view because it's view only. You cannot edit the output. And this section right here tells Android Studio what to do when the calculate button and the reset button is pushed. And when we move on to the calculate section, this is running when the calculate button is pushed. We are starting off with setting the data types for the three input fields. So the first one is a string, and then the second and the third one for the hourly rate and hours worked are numbers. And we also need to set the data types for the constants that are supporting our payroll calculation. And that includes all of these variables, including base pay, overtime pay, tax, and bonus, net pay, deductions. And we also need to specify how much we are talking about when we pull each of them out. And once we have everything defined, we can set the formula to calculate our net pay and display that result here. And once we're done with everything, we still need these two exception codes so that when errors come up in the app, these will be handled appropriately. Otherwise, the app will either crash or throw an error, which doesn't really help in fixing the app. So, last but not least, we have the reset fields function. So that will clear out the name, hours worked, and hourly rate, and set the output so that it's blank, so that the user can start over and input another set of numbers if they like. And let's just look at how the front end design ties into these functionalities. So here is our activity main XML file, and you'll notice on the first line we have the XML version set and the encoding set the same as the Android manifest XML file. And we also have a linear layout for the three input fields, and the calculate button and the reset button is forming one linear layout because they are side by side. So they're on the same row. So in Android design, this is seen as one linear layout. And in each of the codes for the buttons, we have something that's called layout weight. And in here, we're saying 1 and 1 for each of them. So we're basically telling Android Studio that they share the space equally in the app. Otherwise, I could say the calculate button takes up 2 times the space that the reset button takes. So I would put 2 here and put 1, and then the calculate button would be 2 times as big as the reset button. But that would not be a smart layout decision unless there's a reason for that. And last but not least, we have the result text view, which displays the calculation for our net pay. So that's about it for this simple Android app. And I hope this will give you some insight into simple Android app development. And it really is not as hard as you think. So I encourage all of you to give it a try. And Android Studio is free to download, and I have included the link to download it in the description box below. So I encourage all of you to give it a try and use the APK file reference down below as well for this app so that you can play with it. I'll see you in the next video.